good formula for justifying abortion. They were like, well, it's safe, legal, and rare, and it's a tragedy when a 14-year-old gets raped. And I was like, well, that's for sure, it's a tragedy. And because it's so tragic, you need an abortion. Now they're like, no, you wanna like do something good for America? Kill your kid. Well, that's just Mayan at that point. I mean, that's just, you know what I mean? That's Canaanite. That's just human sacrifice, and they're just saying it. So I do think it divides the country into people who sort of know that and it's obvious, and then people who embrace it. And, you know, it's sad, but they're probably not gonna be on your side. So I actually think the recognition that human life is the most important thing is dawning on people, and that I'm not even Catholic, and I agree that war, euthanasia, abortion, killing people, it's just bad. And anyone who's enthusiastic about killing people is scary. And the last thing I'll say is the one thing I am worried about is euthanasia, which is the state murder of its citizens. And I think the economic incentives are really powerful for the state to want to do that. As healthcare costs rise, as depression rises, which I think is one of the byproducts of prescription drug use, SSRIs actually have not lowered the suicide rate, they've increased it, et cetera, et cetera. That's all getting very obvious, and it's super expensive, and how do you pay for it? Well, Canada's just like, we'll just kill you. Make it very hard to get your knee replaced, make it very easy to die. And I'm very concerned that's coming here. And you don't have to be Catholic or even Christian to see that as totally evil. And I hope, and I will demand, to the extent I have any control, that the Republican Party says no to that immediately. People are not objects. They're not animals. You can't slaughter them. They have souls. And just because you're expensive and inconvenient doesn't make you human. We reject slavery because we embrace the humanity of every person. That's why we're against slavery, because we recognize that people are human beings with souls created by God. And anyone who says you can just kill them when they get in the way, whether it's in Ukraine or an abortion clinic or in a euthanasia lab, is evil. And I don't care if they claim that it's liberation, it's not. It's the darkest thing, it's murder. So, whatever. But I fully expect the people who told you that you had to relinquish the Bill of Rights in favor of protecting old people will be the very first to say we need to kill all the old people because they're too expensive. Yes, sir.
This will be the last question of the night.
Oh man, I'm just getting rolling now.
I hope you like my question. So, hi Tucker, my name's Jake. I just want to say I named my dog after you. So.
You know what? I take that as a dog man, I take that as a high compliment, so thank you.
I love your laugh too. So, my question is about nicotine. So, I see your little packet. I don't know if that's Zyn or Alp, but from what I hear, you know, nicotine comes with a bunch of benefits, increasing testosterone. Love that. So it's my 16th birthday today, and they say you should be 21, 18, 25. When did you start taking nicotine, and when would you recommend taking nicotine?
Who comes up with these questions? You're trying to get me in trouble. So let me just be clear. There are laws about this, you know, whether or not I think they're insane, that you can go fight and die in Iran, but can't have a nicotine pouch at 18. In fact, they'd like you to go fight and die in Iran, but you can't have a nicotine pouch. I think we've got misplaced priorities. But there are laws about making health claims about, you can make health claims about anything. They tell you weed is good for you. They tell you to take, Adderall in 5th grade. Go ahead and take SSRIs. You need some benzodiazepines, because those are good, not addictive or anything. But nicotine is somehow a threat, and I suspect, that any compound that makes the population passive and willing to accept mistreatment is favored, and any compound that heightens awareness, like black coffee, which they're always telling you is bad, and I can tell you as a 55-year-old who's had approximately a gallon of it every day for 41 years, it's not, is disfavored. So I can only tell you it works for me. I'm not going to tell you how old I was when I started using related products, but I'm 55 and I've been using it for 41 years. And I'm not endorsing that at all. I'm just telling you what works for me. I don't drink or use drugs of any kind, including Advil, and I haven't for 22 years. I've got pretty bad eating habits, which is obvious. I love pizza, but I don't put any chemicals in my body whatsoever other than nicotine and black coffee, and I feel great. I do. I feel, and by the way, I just want to say again, this is not licensed health advice. I don't run the CDC, okay? I'm not in charge of the Department of Agriculture's food pyramids. I'm not going to tell you to eat 11 loaves of bread to lose weight. Because I'm not a certified scientist or a genius like the people who told you that masks would keep you from catching COVID. And by the way, get 9 boosters. So I don't have the moral authority to give you advice about how to be healthy. I can only tell you what's worked for me, a man with a checkered academic record. But I can say, I feel good. I'll take one more question. Sorry.
Thank you, Tucker. Follow-up question for my 22 question to you. Unfortunately, here in State 48, the psychopathic overlords in our establishment class continue to steal our voices and our votes. It happened in California. It happened in 4 different Senate races. As ground forces on the field, we fight every day, mostly against the gelded, old, pathetic GOP.
Yes.
But what would you suggest we, the people, do to reestablish our rights to choose our servants? Thank you, sir.
I mean,